welcome to episode 9, part 2 of the Wireheads podcast. Now, we just got done drooling over, the CEMK that's coming up. Now, with that in mind, remember, this is all based on the Cyberpunk RED engine. And some of you guys might be wondering, how do I get in? What is Cyberpunk RED? If you are 9 episodes in and you don't know what Cyberpunk RED is, please go back to episode 1 and start over again. We'll see you later. But Cyberpunk RED, of course, takes place in 2045, and it is going to be where the engine is. I want to clarify: don't go to the Jumpstart kit right away if you are very, very new. Instead, use easy mode. Now, easy mode, it is free on DriveThruRPG, and it is a very well put together packet that covers lore of Night City in 2045, along with how to play Cyberpunk RED, from how dice work, how some weapons work, because I think we have a very limited weapons table in easy mode. I think it's just, what is it, pistols, rifles, and shotguns?
That sounds right. Maybe SMGs are in there for auto fire, but I don't know for sure. Those three are absolutely in there though. Yeah.
And of course, with the easy mode, you have solo, rocker boy, tech, med tech, and media in that mix.
Mm-hmm.
And yep. That group, of course, is based on the characters that we've had since the Jumpstart kit came out. And with this group of edge runners, I think they've kept the stats pretty well put together, but they have a very limited scope to how the abilities work. Because I think they gave Solo the bonus to Initiative, Rocker Boys a bonus to Persuasion. They made some adjustments to make it fit for easy mode. And easy mode also comes with a scenario also in it.
It does. I think most of the way that they made the role abilities work in easy mode was they technically do what they do in the full rules to a very limited sort of degree. So the solo gets a perception bonus, I believe, or it's either perception or initiative.
I think it's their initiative bonus.
Yeah. So medtechs get the ability to do quick fixes.
Yeah.
No. It's not speed heal. Really? I think it was quick fixes or surgery. I believe. Maybe they can do speed heal too, but yeah, bottom line is they're extremely simplified. The tech is only electronic security tech bonus. They get a +4, I think, to their electronic security tech, which is fine, it's good. And technically, yeah, that's what they would do if they were field expertise, but they get so much more. It's just hard to explain that in an intro product that is, and this is the important part, free. It is free 90 free, which is my favorite price for things.
So, for anybody who is very, very, very new and just wants the basics of Cyberpunk RED without putting in a single buck, start with easy mode.
Mm-hmm.
I think we've harped on easy mode so often over here with just how well done it is for being a free. It was free RPG day last year, correct? It was
22.
Was it?
I believe
it was
22.
Okay.
Yeah, where's my
All right,
easy
I thought
mode?
it was 23 for some reason. Oh gosh, 22 feels forever ago.
You're telling me. Where did I put my copy of easy mode? I don't know where it is. It's somewhere up here.
But
my space is kind of a mess right now.
Yeah.
Sorry, guys.
No worries. Either way, we have easy mode. And
yes, we do.
With that aside, for the I don't know what more could be talked about with easy mode. It is literally how to play the game plus scenario.
Yeah, it's really simple rules. It only gives you what you need. It doesn't add any of the extra fluff. So the notable things that it omits that your players might be really disappointed in, it does not have a Netrunner pre-gen. It does not have rules for progressing your characters. It does not have full rules for roll abilities. It does not have any of the economic rules. It has no gear lists. It is bare bones. It is extremely bare bones. It's a great product for our free product. It's a great intro, and it's more than a lot of games have. I'm not going to even say who, but it's more than a lot of games have for introducing players to their worlds and their games, which is incredibly good. There's a reason we harp on it so much, because I truly do believe it is probably the best way to get into the game. If you do not know if you want to play the game or not, right? Like if you have no idea about Cyberpunk, or if you'll like the tabletop because you like the anime and the video game, you really want to give Cyberpunk a try, but you don't want to spend money on it, easy mode is you're in. It's super easy to put together. I literally, fun story. I have, basically we took a trip to California early this year because there was a family gathering. I'm not really going to say much beyond that, but there was a lot of my wife's family gathered together, and her cousin, his girlfriend, and then I think it was maybe or it was the two of them and maybe one other person. I don't quite remember, but bottom line is there were enough people gathered together there that we could run a Cyberpunk game. And so I handed each of them a sheet out of easy mode, and I literally sat down having no plan to do this earlier in the day. And we played like for 2-3 hours that night, getting them through the basic part of easy mode. And that's how easy it is to pick up and run it. So it's really good for that. So Diamond, what do they do if they say, well, the end of June, which is the latest we might be getting the CEMK, provided everything goes right. The end of June's a long time away, and I want to play Cyberpunk now. And I don't want to wait, and I don't want some stupid free product, because free things are bad. And I want good products, not bad products. And I want to buy things with my money. What then?
Depending on how much you want to shell out, you could purchase the core rulebook, and I think its MSRP right now is $60 for like the hardcover print and $30 over on DriveThruRPG. Which, of course, we're not sponsored by anyone over here. It's just we happen to be very big enthusiasts of the game.
Although, DriveThru, if you do want to sponsor us, I mean, the email's in the description. wireheadspod@googlegroups.com. It works now.
Honestly, it might not be a bad idea.
I'm just saying.
But the core rulebook. Core rulebook, I think overall, like I've talked about this time and time again over on my channel, and we've talked about it before. The core rulebook is probably one of my, when I first opened it up, it had probably a better first impression than any other core rulebooks I had in the past for other games, especially funny wizard game. The Cyberpunk RED core rulebook has everything you need to run the game, everything, without all the other frills. Plus, you can use all the free DLC that comes with Cyberpunk RED when you have the core rulebook. Core rulebook will have everything you need for 3 different variants of character generation, whether that be, or you can even use the free pre-gens that are out there. But you have, of course, Street Rat, which is quick gen. Edge Runner has some minor customization to it, and then complete.
You can pick your skills. But you still roll for stats, so you're not buying as much.
And then, of course, complete package, which I love, is a full point buy and skill selection system to tune your character specifically to what you want. When you are when we look at the core rulebook, though, the one downside that it has, and I think Emmerron could agree with me on this one, the character creations, like layout, it leaves more to be desired. But outside that,
I think it's all right. I think it's fine. I think
it's not bad.
It's got a flow chart. So the nice thing about it is, if you are worried about getting through character creation in the book, there can be a little bit of page turning if you've got the physical. But if you got the digital, which is especially kind of what I want to drive home here, digital is nice and cheap. It is $30, which is less than what the CEMK is going to cost. And so if you get that, all your page numbers, all page headers, they're all hyperlinked. So you can literally click your way through the book, which is super nice. Also, add-on little thing that we have. This is, I don't think technically it's an RTG product, but I know that the developer is allowed to sell expansions to it. So at some level, it's endorsed by them. There is the Cyberpunk RED companion app. And that is, let me see if I can open it up here. Its icon looks a little something like this. Whoops. I'm gonna pull that back up again just so that I can hopefully get it on cam this time. Cool. No, it's too quick. Too quick.
It's a red block that says red in the middle of the
It says red. Yep, and it's Cyberpunk RED is all one word. Cyberpunk RED companion app. It will literally do the hard part for you when building a character in terms of like telling you how many points you got left, and if you're using that to build a character, it is incredibly easy. So that is another accessibility tool that, if the book is a little cumbersome for you, that is another way to do it. That is just as good.
So let's see. I guess for other folks though, it's like, well, what about the Jumpstart kit? So unfortunately, the Jumpstart kit is kind of obsolete at this point. Not entirely, but it really actually needs the core rulebook anymore because of the conversion kit that came out with it. However,
but Diamond, the Jumpstart kit is in a box and it looks pretty. That should be a starter set, is it not?
Used to be.
What do you mean?
So back in 2009, I think it was probably Gen Con 2019 when it was released. Of course, as we mentioned, the Jumpstart kit was basically a beta test of rules that the following year in 2020 developed into what it is currently. However, if you want to use the Jumpstart kit, which has some great adventures in there, including I revealed some information to Emmerron, and for you Edgerunners fans, if you do get the Jumpstart kit, you really scour the information in there. I even talked about it a little bit. I mentioned it on Twitter. There is a good explanation for what happened to Sasha's mom. Like how all that rolled around and how we got to where it was. So if you really think about it, it's the party's fault that Sasha's mom died.
I found my copy of Easy Mode. Here it is. It was in my backpack next to me the whole time. I'm an idiot. So yeah. This is hard to find. The physical version of Easy Mode is hard to find. The Drive-Thru RPG Digital is very, very easy to find. But yes, go ahead. I'm so sorry. I did not mean to usurp the topic.
It's fine. But basically, long story short, the Edgerunners of the Time of the Red are responsible for the death of Sasha's mom. If you want to know what I'm talking about, go grab the Jumpstart kit. Grab the Jumpstart conversion kit, which is free over on Artal's website, and also have the core rulebook, and you'll have a pretty beefy amount of content. Now, that book that Emmerron's got in hand right there is Interface Red Volume 3. Now,
It's beautiful.
The interface books, not a bad purchase if you want to have, and like for me, I like to have, I bought my interfaces online because it gathers all the recent DLC PDFs and puts them all into one big document.
Here's the one I wanted to grab. This is Volume 2. Volume 2 has the Jumpstart Kit conversion guide.
Yep.
Here it is, right here, large and in print. So if you do want to spend some extra money and get some of the DLC articles, and this one has rules on how to make a bioexotic. So do you want to be a bunny person? Of course you do. Who doesn't want to be a bunny person? Do you want to be an elf? Or a bear? If you want to be a bear, a bunny person, a rat person, if you are one of them sewer kids, if you want to be an elf or maybe a dragon, you know, you got a little fantasy in your blood. What? Yeah, but if you want to be any of the bioexotics, this book also has rules for that. But this is a ton of extra stuff, including the conversion kit, but it is notably very, very, very free on RTG's website. Well, almost every DLC that come in interface are free on their website.
The only ones that are not free is All About Drones from Interface Red 1, which honestly, it's not bad.
It's okay. It's an all right supplement. But yeah, it definitely
you gotta have a lot of money.
Is not this chunky or accessible. Well, I mean, exotics are kind of expensive too, to be fair.
Oh yeah.
Exotics of 2045 is this one, which is Volume 2.
And then Going Metal, which has your FBCs, is in Interface Red 3. Now, why should you get Interface Red 1? Because it has both Elf Lines Online and Elf Lines Online Expansion Pack 1. There is no other reason. Anyway.
This is what it looks like, everybody. And if you want the best MMO in a TTRPG that has ever existed, quite possibly the only MMO in a TTRPG that has ever existed, I don't know if there are others that have done this, we have ELO right here. It is fantastic. I cannot speak highly of this enough. Plug, if you are coming to Gen Con and you would like to do a little mystery solving, and Elflines is a way that you want to solve mysteries for, you can come to my session, Pay to Win, on Thursday night, the first night of Gen Con at 8 p.m. It is up on Artal's event schedule for the convention. Hello, Cat. So if you want to come and play with me, that is a way to do it.
So, I guess at this point, what is the best point of entry leading up to the Edge Runners mission kit? I would personally say the core rulebook would probably be your best choice. Core rulebook PDF, $30, drive-through RPG is my top choice.
Personally, I recommend just buying Black Chrome.
Really?
No, I'm not going to elaborate. I'm kidding. I mean, honestly, though, like, look at this book, right? Okay, look at its beautiful colors, the artwork, the magazine-like appearance. The artwork inside is glorious. Every item beautifully realized with artwork and pictures and more artwork that apparently, according to Jay Gray at Gen Con last year, cost like more than 3 books to make one because of the artwork. So no, I agree that I think Red's core rulebook is where you start. I think if you wanted to get yourself a box, like starter box-esque experience, though, here's your 2-parter, right? And this costs you $5 more than the Edge Runners kit is gonna cost you in about a month. If you're impatient, or if you want to get a lead on knowing how the game works, playing the game, understanding how progression works, because that, as far as we know, we're not going to get progression rules in the Edge Runners mission kit, and they weren't in the Jumpstart kit. So it would surprise me if we got them in there. If you want to understand how to build a character, progress a character, all of that stuff before the Edge Runner mission kit comes out, so that you're not playing with a pre-generated character, but rather one of your own making, then I would get the Red Core rulebook. If you want to get it at the cheapest, the easiest way to get it is the $30 digital, like Diamond said, over on DriveThruRPG. And I would add on top of this the Jumpstart Kit digital, which is at this point, and it has been for quite a while, so I'm kind of thinking this is the way it's going to be for a very long time, is $10. So $40 for digital, you will get in with the core rulebook, get them with the Jumpstart Kit. What does this get me, Emmerron, you might ask? Well, my lovely viewer, I will tell you. It gets you the core rulebook with all the rules to make and build characters, gives you workable access to like 99% of all the DLCs they've released, which is incredibly good. Most all of those DLCs have something to add to your game, whether they be new systems, gear, MMOs, because we needed those. Mini games. There are several mini games between the street and digital stuff that you can add to the game this way. What was it?
Cyber chairs, which I think that's kind of
very
nice
true
for those that want to be want that kind of representation. That's there as well.
Yep. There's all kinds of stuff in there that like you can just add to your game the moment you have the core rulebook. The core rulebook is missing one small thing, which is a lot of really good starter adventures, or a big starter adventure, I should say. It's got a couple. It's got 4, I believe, in there. It's got Wood Pirates, Break the Box, The Big Break, and what's number 4? There's the 4th one, and I'm forgetting it like a dum-dum. Hold up. Where's my book? Where's my book? Give me my book, because I can look at the table of contents, and then I'll know what the 4th one is. Let me see here. Sorry, guys. I swear to God, I'm good at what I do. Scream sheets are further back. Yes, they are. Here we go. Guys, we got the big break. We got Smash the Box. We got Wood Pirates, and that's it.
Yeah,
that's it. We only have 3.
Then you get I think 5 Scream sheets in the data pack if you are craving more stuff. Which honestly, the data.
But if you get the JSK, this is what you add to your arsenal, because the conversion kit is pretty much exclusively to let you use these missions in Core Red, because again, the rules have changed a little bit between those 2 releases. So your biggest one, in my opinion, the best one, is the apartment. The apartment is a gig that will you could probably fit it into a single session. I might suggest running it across 2, but it is a great introduction. It adds stakes for your players to work with. It adds some interesting kind of character stuff you can do. It teaches them how harsh the world of Night City is. It really does a great job of kind of setting the scene. So you get access to that, which is worth the $10 in my opinion by itself. But you also get, I believe it's 3 others, which is Definitely Not Kansas, which is incredible. That's what Diamond and I were talking about earlier. If you play Definitely Not Kansas, you'll understand what little Easter egg there is for Edge Runners with Sasha from that, the ending. If you've watched the music video for Let You Down, something will start to click. The other thing you get, because what are the other 2 missions in there? Because I know there's at least there's 2 more.
There is Just Like Real, and also what was the other one? Precious Cargo. The cheese.
The cheese.
The cheese.
The cheese. Yeah, no. Do you want to know what a wheel of Parmigiano Reggiano costs in the time of the Red? The answer is about 10,000 eddies. Do you want to know what someone would do to get it? Play the mission. You'll find out. It's beautiful. Honestly, I think the $40 combo between getting those two things and then just making sure you've downloaded the conversion kit is an actual like killer combo. Like that is basically an intro box on its own. And then you start off with in those two products alone, you'll have 7 missions. And you can add another 4 just from DLCs, because there was a set of 3 Halloween scream sheets we got this last year. And then we have Red Chrome Cargo, which I have said it before. I'll probably say it a million times in the future. Best single scream sheet mission for Red so far. It is so good. I love Red Chrome Cargo. But yes, I did not mean to take over your topic, Diamond. I just wanted to make sure that got out there.
Oh dear. One sec. Somebody sent me a question. I'm gonna go put that on the question page and just see. Oh.
It's okay. It's okay. I'm here for you, Diamond. When the rest of the world's against you, I'm here for you.
Well, gosh, point of entry, like, I wasn't sure, like, how far point of entry was going to really expand out on this one, because, like, there's, like, 2 really good points of entry in Red, but if you're looking for a table, and you have a few extra bucks, it's just a moment of shameless advertising here. Both Emmerron and I are professional GMs who happen to run games over on StartPlaying Games. So
they're even fun.
And for me, I'm also going to be adding probably when the Edge Runner's Mission Kit drops, I will probably do a short burst of running the jacket for people when we finally get it.
Same. Yep.
However, I'll probably also be adding Blade Runner to my end, so you will be able to explore some games with me. Also, Emmerron's got Tales of the Red Street Story campaigns going on.
We do. I have one available on. They are currently, this might change depending on player willingness, but as of now, they are every other week on Thursday and Friday. Thursdays go at noon Pacific. The other one goes at 6 p.m. Pacific on Fridays. So the whole idea here is to run all the way through Tales of the Red Street Stories. Of course, I'm not going to leave out there's a trilogy that 2 of the scream sheets combined with one of the missions, 2 of the scream sheets from the data pack, specifically, plus one of the missions in Tales of the Red, they make a trilogy. It is beautiful. That is where the Thursday group will be starting. If you want to join up, it is available. My Start Playing is in the description of this video on YouTube. If you are listening to this or watching this somewhere else, it's pretty much anywhere that you find my name on my YouTube channel. It's below all my videos. You can find it. I would love to have you at my table. We might be changing the Thursday one to weekly because a lot of players are like, please let us play every week. And I'm like, I'm a man of the people. Okay. Look, if the people are voting, I'm willing to let them play.
And also money.
But yeah. I wasn't going to say that, Diamond, but yes, money.
Look, for professional GMs, you got to get paid for the services you offer. Also, one other GM I could personally recommend in good faith, known as Stink Palm 007, Tracy Goodwin. Fantastic GM. We're going to have to get him on the show here at some point.
Yeah.
So, Tracy, if you're listening or watching by chance, please do reach out. We'll reach out to you soon. We'd love to talk to you.
wireheadspod@googlegroups.com if you want to drop us a line there. We would love to talk a time out and interview. It doesn't have to be on our typical Wednesday.
Yep.
Most of our interviews, as a matter of fact, have been off
Friday
episode. Yeah, so we've made sure to try and or Thursday or Friday. It just depends. Whenever Diamond and I are able to squeeze you in, we would love to have an interview with you and talk to you about some of it. I know Diamond is maybe a little more familiar with your work than I am, but both of us, I know, would love to have that conversation. That side. Finding a table that kind of already knows what it's doing is a good point of entry. If you're just wanting to try the game, conventions like Gen Con or PAX U, which are both ones that Artel Soaring Games themselves attend. I don't know. I know last year PAX U we didn't have any games. I don't know if they're looking to kind of change that this year. But I know at Gen Con we have a ton of games. We have so many games. So if you want to play one of our games, that is a great way to do it. At Gen Con, they're all free. As long as you've got a badge to get into the convention, the games themselves are free. So please try, if you can come to Gen Con, come by us, because I would love to talk with you all and play games with you. But yeah, a lot of the time, just getting a group together and trying it is the way to do it. I started my time in TTRPGs as a GM knowing nothing of how to play. I just learned and ran, and I made mistakes, and that's okay. I am a strong proponent in that you are entirely able to run games. If you want to run games and you and your table, you want to play games, anyone can run a TTRPG. You just gotta do a little more reading. That's all.
I had to learn this in order to keep a group going because one of our previous GMs had ended up stepping away, and that's when I kind of found I really like GMing for the Night City setting. Gosh, I'm trying to think what other spots are there to cover. Oh goodness.
I mean, I guess we could also then add so Diamond, I am newbie little player, and I followed your advice, and I've got, not only do I have, I went extra on you, okay? So not only do I have my physical copy of Cyberpunk RED Easy Mode, which is incredibly difficult to find, I also got a first edition printing of the Cyberpunk RED Core Rulebook, because I wanted to do that, even if the tables inside aren't 100% up to date with the new printings. I also went out of my way and I got my physical Jumpstart kit because, again, I am extra and I wanted to spend a lot of extra money to ensure I had every physical thing under the sun. I have these wonderful products by Artel Soaring Games. We are not sponsored by them. And I have started playing your your tabletop game. What do I do from here? What is the next thing I buy?
As a player, Black Chrome. Black Chrome for players when you've started really making your way through here and you're spending time in the time of the red. Black Chrome is a big, massive catalog of products for your Edge Runner to pick up. You can get something as great and as epic as a rifle with a railgun on it, to subcompact cars like the Makigai Ibi, to the Satyrian Essentials Arachnid Grenade. You can even get an app that will brick your phone if you lose the game.
And also Tritafizz, because that's important.
And shower in a can.
And shower in a can.
And
yeah, Sub Oil personal lubricant, which is useful for 3 different things, and they are different products. But
check the bottle.
If I can find it real quick. Oh yeah, hold on. I just flipped past it. There it is. You know, you tell me which is which. These are 3 different bottles. I'm not kidding. This is not a trolling attempt.
Yeah, 3 different products. Trying to think. Oh yes, you want to make a car explode? Yeah, we got a product for that. You want to make your enemy's head explode? There's a product for that. Do you want to make someone explode from all the way over there, but the chance of you also exploding? There's a product for that. Trying to think.
What if I'm a GM?
Ooh, this one's a tough split. Because I think, you're going to lean one way, I'm going to lean the other. If you're a new GM, I recommend Tales of the Red. Tales of the Red is a, if you're looking for something that's a little bit beefier and has a little bit more time to it, I would recommend Tales of the Red because it's got a much more dedicated story to it. 9 different dedicated, 8/9. The last 2
it's 9. It's 9.
Like the last 2 work together to create one bigger story, but all the other stories just they're intense. I've lost my entire crew. Like the crew that Dia was with for Tales of the Red, she was the only survivor of the end of one of the missions. And you get to do great things like hunting vampires, maybe. You get dealing with execs and whatever.
You get to go in a submarine at one point, which is fucking terrifying.
You get to possibly show up in a major feature film from one of the African Neo-Africa studios.
I'm finding that one. This one right here. What is it? It's a bucket full of popcorn
flavored kibble.
Yeah. There we go.
A bucket full of popcorn flavored kibble is very good for going out and making connections. It is very much a fixer / I know a guy kind of story, but also with some touches of really telling what kind of person you are. But
yes.
Also, for other GMs who have a much more established grasp on the world, Danger Gal Dossier would also be a really good choice because you have, I think, 13 different factions.
Mine is even signed by Mike Pondsmith.
Nice.
I'm sorry, I need to flex that just a little bit. I don't get that many opportunities.
No worries. But yeah, you get 13 different factions ranging from Bozos to Maelstrom to NCPD Precinct 1 to
we've even got a Mr. Stud in here.
Yes.
I think he's
tech upgrade.
Yeah.
Mr. Stud as well.
Yes. We have a Mr. Stud. So if you asked my recommendation, I even for GMs, mind you, this depending on what we get in the CEMK, this could change because I'm very interested to see how they expand this. As of right now, early May, was it May 8th, 2024, my recommendation still stands with Black Chrome. Even if you're a GM, I think that this is the best extra book to get because there's something for everyone at your table. If your table is like mine, where not everyone has the money to buy TTRPG books and you need just to have a catalog of stuff that you can just put down at your table and be like, players, here, buy good, cool shit. This is a book full of big, cool shit. This also gives you economics rules, which for GMs, that I don't know about other GMs, but for me, the economics rules as written in the core book were the hardest for my head to wrap around.
Yeah.
This book really helps you understand exactly how that's supposed to work. There's a whole chapter in the back called Economics 101. This is so helpful in ways you wouldn't expect. That said, if you're not like me and your brain is larger and more rigid or more full of ridges, not smooth like mine, clearly, then you may be able to skip this for a bit. and you go straight to Danger Gal Dossier, because this has the stuff for making your own characters. So not only do you have 13 factions of characters like Diamond was saying, you also have rules for making your own. You have a mission in the back if you want to have a multi-part mission that illustrates how beat charts work, so you really get it under your control as to like how you want to run things. This book's incredibly good. I did not realize how good this was going to be when it came out last year at Gen Con. I'm so glad I bought a copy when I did, because this thing has been invaluable. And we're actually just starting to go through the incident, which is from the back of the book, on one of Diamond's games that I am part of, that she streams live before this every Wednesday. So, yeah. But I will say this. If you're not confident about making characters or writing missions, and you're like, I really want to have a bunch of stuff to just run with my party, Tales is like a pretty easy recommend. Honestly, like if you do get this before Black Chrome, I don't blame you, because like what's in the core rulebook is pretty good to start with. Just as long as you understand how the economics of Red works, like this is a fantastic campaign in a book. Even if it's not written to be a campaign, my party has run it as a campaign for a long time, longer than it should take, but we're almost at the end of this book now, and I've loved every second of it.
Oh, goodness.
Yes, that is, for those of you wondering, Emmerron, do you have every Cyberpunk RED product that has been made so far physically? Yes, I do. And no, I'm not ashamed. Don't you dare try to shame me. I even have the GM screen. This is me showing you I'm not full of shit. So yeah, no, I've every single thing, even the net running deck. Last little product show. But yeah, that's all the flexing I'm gonna do tonight, guys. I promise.
Do you think we're ready to hop over to Q&A?
I think so. Yeah, let me adjust my topic box real quick, and then we can hop right into that. Let's see, Q and A. And
yeah, I like point of entry is important, chat. Like finding what's best for you. Again, if you can afford to get the core rule book before the mission kit comes out, great. If you want at least to get a taste of what Cyberpunk's gonna be like, get easy mode.
Yeah, but, if you just want something to taste, easy mode is still the freest, easiest way to do it. But yeah, if you want to have a full understanding of the base rules, you need to have the core rulebook, because there's like a ton of stuff that easy mode doesn't give you.
All right.
But yeah.
So first question that we got here, we got three questions here, and of course, I'm gonna keep my eye elsewhere in case we have any other questions that come in. But first question, are there from Cyberpunk? Are there any of these new products that you do not expect to use in your game? And I assume with products, it's going to be new items that likely show up in the kit. For me, I am going to probably lean hard towards keeping whatever comes in the 2070s, and keeping the time of the red. That's just going to be my final call.
For me, no. And I fully expect to use every single product that RTG releases. And that's not just because, as Jay once said, I am a simp for their brand. Look, you didn't have to call me out like that, Jay, but I understand. Yeah, I may come off that way. But I have found something useful in every single thing that they've released. Even if it's not a like mind-blowing like product or DLC or something that they've released, it expands my understanding of the world and what's possible and what's intended with certain rules. Great example for this is Danger Gal Dossier. Tons of the characters in there are tech upgraded some way, and it really does get your mind going as like, oh wow, yeah, you could tech upgrade to do that or this or whatever. And it's much cooler knowing that like, oh, that's totally like the designers thought that that was a reasonable upgrade. So I can let that happen to my table and it's probably fine. And it makes you more comfortable. I think that that's just as valuable as getting a new setting like we'll get with Edge Runners to an extent, right? And for the Edge Runners stuff, I've already told Diamond repeatedly that once I read over the rules and on how to convert stuff forward into the 70s, I want to take some time and explore the time span between the 40s and the 70s. Like do some stuff in the 50s. That would be incredibly fun. And I would love to see what that looks like once I understand better how that's all supposed to work. So yeah, I fully expect to use every single one of the upcoming products that have been announced in some form or another. I've been a little slower than others to get behind the Tails stuff, just because I write so much of my own content. But even I can say that like those missions have been incredibly helpful to like flesh out the world and how certain things work. Like, how does a rogue AI look? There's a whole thing about that. How does it work if you're underwater? We got a whole mission about that, you know? So there's stuff to be learned, I think, from everything that they write, because it's all word of God stuff.
Well, that actually links up with one of the other questions I had received. Will we see the 2050s in red? Now, there hasn't been anything said. However, I think it was mentioned everything up to the 2060s is in Artal's court to decide.
Yeah.
So
I think Jay's response to this when we interviewed him was not right now, at least. Like, we're sticking to the 2045 as like a nebulous time front.
It probably will show up probably further down the road when the edition gets older. Remember, the edition is only going, like, technically it's only 4 years old. If we include the Jumpstart kit, it's going to be 5 years old come August.
Right.
And then I wouldn't be surprised if this would be sort of like how 2020 went from, you know, being an Edge Runner in Night City in 2020 to the Fourth Corporate War, where for us it might be what's ramping up into, I think it's referred to as the reunification wars are also dubbed the Metal Wars.
The Metal Wars, yeah, they've called them both in various sources, both with the World Book, Data Shards, and 77. It's referred to both ways.
Yep.
But basically, the march of the NUSA across the continental United States to reclaim the free states and rebind them under the flag of the NUSA. And Night City held out against that because they made a deal with the devil, that being Arasaka.
And then finally, the other question I've received. Oh, you're going to love this question. Can I use the 5e engine to run Red?
Okay. Diamond, I'm going to let you start because I need to gather myself, and not because my thoughts have anything confused about them.
You and I are both going to feel the same way about this. Just
okay.
Did you know Cyberpunk RED is inspired off of a TTRPG known as Cyberpunk, A View from Over the Edge in Cyberpunk 2020? Did you know that it has its own system that's very smooth and well put together, that talks about everything that you need to run, you know, those roles in a skill-based system that is called, in fact, Cyberpunk RED. It's Cyberpunk for Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
You can run Cyberpunk in Cyberpunk. You do not need to go to 5e. I'm sorry. Stop using 5e. Stop retrofitting everything into 5e. I'm tired of all these tabletop games putting 5e in there.
Okay, Diamond. I'm gonna call you back. Hold up. Tag me in. All right. So here's my thing, guys. 5e is really good at the things 5e is really good at, right? 5e is not a narrative system. I did a video on why that's okay. But if you are a GM and you don't, or you're a new GM, most importantly, but if you're a GM at all who needs rules and needs a world and needs all of those things to really help you set the scene and like understand what you're presenting to your players, or maybe your players, like my wife, I showed her Red. She loved Red compared to her attempts at playing D&D of any edition. She had played a couple and she never felt like she fit in because her feet were never on like firm ground in terms of like, what is base reality? What are the social rules? What are all these things that I need to feel at home role playing another character? Whereas in Red, it's our world basically, just fast forward 20 years, right? Which is like not that hard to think about. And guns and stuff that we have, modern body armor, and the couple of departures that it takes to dress things up in chrome, like cyber limbs and things like that, that's easy to imagine. Like that is actually much easier than you think to imagine. So, as Diamond said, if 5e as a kitchen sink system is a problem, I think that it's a problematic habit that we've gotten into in the wider gaming industry, that somehow every tabletop game needs to have a compatibility for something with 5e because 5e is the biggest. I think that that's a mistake. I don't agree with the idea that every single TTRPG needs to have a 5e module. I think that games are built to do certain things. I think that games are designed to do particular things well versus other things. A great example of this that isn't Cyberpunk, but is RTG, is Cody Pondsmith was quoted saying in an interview about Shadowscar, his new game, that he originally built the game on Interlock because it's the same system that most of the other games he's helping on use, because Cyberpunk is run on it, Witcher runs on it. But he departed from it quickly because he realized that he needed a system that would do things that Interlock does not do. And that's why he picked his own system. It's a new system called Mosaic for Shadowscar. He designed a custom system for the game because it made more sense. And I would plead with you to recognize when a system is trying to do things for the game in the world that it's portraying differently than other systems do it. So like in D&D, you're set up to succeed. Like the game rule set is heavily in favor of the players. It is not set to kill the players. And if that's the kind of story you and your GM and your table want to tell, that's awesome. But it's a combat focused system. It's very crunchy in all the spots that get confusing. It requires you to rules lawyer and arbitrate your way through every session. And that might be a little bit hyperbolic, but I'll say this. In Red, I've had to argue rules with my players. I could probably count it on one, maybe two hands. And that is after running this game for almost 4 years and playing it for a little over that amount of time. I have had to argue rules with a GM or players maybe 8 or 9 times in that whole expanse. And I challenge you to tell me that you can do that with D&D 5th edition nearly that infrequently. How many times do you have to arbitrate how a rule works in D&D 5th edition?
And also, when some people are just like, well, this is the system I know. Learn a new system. You have no idea. Somebody talked about it, like to play other games. You have no idea what you're missing out on if you don't play other games. Hell, fucking Dice and Emmerron back in the day when they introduced me to Blade Runner, introduced me to Blade Runner's chase system, which I thought was the most intuitive way to narrate a chase.
It's so good. It's so good. Well, and that's the thing. Every game you play beyond the ones you're familiar with is a lesson in thinking and designing stuff, right? Because not everything that is in Cyberpunk is perfect, and not everything that Cyberpunk needs to tell its stories well is part of the game system, at least not yet, right? Like, they could be adding some of these things on, but like, we still don't have a concrete set of rules for chases yet. We don't have like a hard, fast rule for how chase scenes are supposed to play out in Cyberpunk. We only very recently just got rules for hacking agents. Because before that, it was kind of a guesstimation of like, you're probably using electronic security tech on some level, and we kind of think this is the DV appropriate for it. Now we have that codified, right?
Also, Netrunners
but like before,
finally got a buff in that one too.
They did, yeah. So like, there are things constantly being developed. The DLC push of Red, I think, is a helpful element of that. But if we didn't have that, even if we didn't have that, I should say, playing other games and other systems and seeing how other things work will expand your imagination to homebrew solutions to some of those problems at your table.
Like, as someone who plays Fallout 2D20, there is so many more uses that you could use the luck stat for. Like for me, sometimes I will roll against a player's luck stat just to see if maybe, just maybe, they might find one extra item lying around, or they might just conveniently have something on hand.
I will say, I mean this with kindness to all you D&D players, because I do understand you guys are the majority. You guys are the biggest cadre of non-Cyberpunk players that are maybe looking at our content or looking into the system or trying to understand how it's supposed to work, what have you. You know, D&D players are ubiquitous. You are a giant group of players. You're the biggest tabletop audience that exists. With that said, if you understand tabletop games outside of D&D, I think two things will happen. One, you will understand that the world is not as small as D&D paints it to be in terms of the way you resolve things. Not everything is resolved with D20s. Not every critical you ever roll in a tabletop game is an instant success. Not every one you roll in a tabletop game is instant failure. That is something that Red expanded for me. You can be good enough to cover your failures, and you could be insufficient to doing truly great things because your skills just aren't there, and they don't cut it, and that's real, right? And there have been other games like Cyborg where I've learned things don't have to be complicated. Why do you need to count ammo? Ammo is tedious. It's tedious to mark down. I've got 6 ammo left on this 8-round clip. Just roll a die at the end of combat. Do you have ammo left in that clip or not? If you do, great. If you don't, that clip is spent. You have to buy another one, or you better have another one to load. You know, like that is a 1 die roll solution now that I just don't need to track and do the bookkeeping behind ammo ever again if I choose to do that, right? I choose to do that in my Cyberpunk games because it automates it in Foundry, and it's easy for me to have that be the case. But like, if I was playing at a table more often, I might choose to adopt the Cyborg rule. And I only know about that way of doing things because I have played Cyborg, which is, yeah, like that's the point I'm making here, is if you don't see these things out in the wild, you'll never know that they're there. And it'd be like trying to assume Well, the first video game I ever played was Pokemon. So every video game I play from this point on needs to be like Pokemon.
Mm-hmm.
That'd be boring as hell. And I don't think people realize that demanding everything be the same as D&D is the same exact thing as saying, I want everything to be Pokemon. If it's a video game, it has to be Pokemon. Because then you'd miss out on gems like Xenogears. You'd miss out on Fire Emblem. You'd miss out on Final Fantasy. You know, there are these other RPGs that are not Pokemon and do nothing like Pokemon. Or some things they do kind of do like Pokemon, but in different ways, in different contexts. And that's what the tabletop space is. And just because D&D is the biggest does not mean it's the only one. And it is not the only way of doing things, not by a long shot. So could you add Cyberpunk to D&D and play Cyberpunk using D&D's rules? You could play a poor Shadow using D&D's rules. You want to really play Cyberpunk for real? You play it with the Cyberpunk system. That is my opinion.
And also, just for me on my end, I've seen like other games where I know of beautifully crafted systems, such as Dune. Dune has been made into a beautiful system. And also, I know other groups that are just like, okay, we want to do just like the most anime as fuck 5e system. It's like, have you considered Fabula Ultima?
Yes. Oh my god, such a good game.
But you know, it's just, it's not that I have a hatred for 5e. I'm just tired of 5e just always taking to the front and just absorbing everything else. Like, please enjoy your space, but let us have our spot in the light as well.
Yeah,
That's
like there are reasons games like Pathfinder exist, and it's because they're trying to do things that D&D isn't doing, right? Even if it's a very similar system, in a lot of ways, there was a...
Like Starfinder.
Like Starfinder, yeah, exactly. Like, there are things that D&D just isn't doing, right? Or slow to do, or the rules for them don't make sense. And so there are other companies that have looked at that and said, but I can make something that makes sense. Or other systems that say, well, I made sense of that like 3 editions ago. And then suddenly you play those games and you realize, holy shit, people can actually die in Cyberpunk. Death can matter. Death is this really cool thing. We just had a character funeral in Neon Inferno on Monday. If any of you, if you haven't watched my show, Neon Inferno, we stream live every Monday. It's all on my Twitch or my YouTube channel at this point. I've got everything up through, with the exception of this most recent episode, which should be going up in the next 2 days here. But we just had a player funeral. We cried over a player's character's death. And like,
my eyes out at work tuning in.
Yeah. Well, and that player even had to mute, and he said I was sniffling by the second. And the third eulogy just sent us all over the edge. Like, I started crying. And I'm like, okay, guys, because I'd asked them before we did it, I'm like, do we need a break? And they're like, no, we can keep going. I'm like, cool, all right. We ran into that. We came out of that. I'm like, okay, guys, so do we need a break? And it was like, yeah. So when I say that some of these things, you don't realize how important or impactful they are to a story until you've really had the chance to explore them, because they just don't come up all that often without a lot of like careful planning and jury rigging and stuff like that. My solution is I just don't play the systems that make it hard for me to achieve that end, because I'm not looking to kill my players, but I am looking for there to be a chance they die. And I don't like systems that keep them from that fate, because I think that there's something very valuable to be gained by experiencing player death. You know, like character death is a big part of that.
And I suppose, to piggyback on that is to also kind of get to a wrapping point here. There's
Yep.
so much that can be learned from all these other systems that closing yourself off to one engine, and especially for any of you, Jay Gray actually mentioned it in his Ask Me Anything. When you go out to a con, if you have a chance to go to like a ticketless event, go check it out.
Play games. Play a lot of games. Don't play just one system, one game. Play all of them.
We might be a Cyberpunk
It's so much better.
We might be a Cyberpunk RED podcast, but we have such a expanded palette on games. Like, I cut my teeth on Dungeons and Dragons 3.5, Emmerron on 4. Or on 4E.
Just 4. Yeah, just 4E. Yep.
But
learned a lot.
On that note, friends, sleep well. Hope you, for those of you on Twitch, and for those on YouTube, please feel free to subscribe. And until next time, friends, I'm Diamond Dust.
And I'm Emmerron.
And we'll see you soon. Bye-bye.
Peace, guys.